Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you are watching or listening. This is the Holistic Monitor, and I'm your host, Nick Sconia. The Holistic Monitor podcast is a weekly show featuring guest interviews with discussions about self-discovery, philosophy, spirituality, and our relationship with the world around us. Your support this last year has meant the world to me, and you can now go to holisticmonitor.com to support the topics you want to hear with our new show merchandise, featuring hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and more. You can also support us by simply sharing your favorite episode with your followers. And with that, let's get the show started. And welcome to the show. This is the last of the season. Season 6 is at an end, and we'll be getting Season 7 at the beginning of April. So today we have a wonderful guest, Morgana Marie. We're going to be discussing multiple dimensional realities and consciousness and how we can utilize this to build leadership into our lives. So let's welcome Morgana. Hello, how are we doing?
Hello, Nick. Thank you. I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. Yeah, so this is a very interesting subject that I know a little bit about, but I'd love to hear your perspective on 5D and consciousness.
Thank you. Yes. So 5D really is the frequency of how we vibrate energetically within our soul, within our whole being, within our whole consciousness in the world. How are we showing up in our life? Do we tend to sort of get attached to conflict and distraction and fear and lack? Or are we able to sort of move past that and see the high perspective of situations, the high perspective of our life, whether it's both related to personal or professional life? So 5D really is about moving from fear and lack to love and appreciation and compassion, acknowledgement of our learnings in life, our lessons, and how we can actually step in and reclaim our connection to everyone. We're in this together. It's moving from separation to connectedness, so we can create a thriving world and come together.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, now we live in the third dimension.
Yes.
And I believe that if we're looking outward, then the fourth dimension adds an aspect of outside of time.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Really, it's about looking at life and functioning from a place of time really is limitless. It's only the constraints that we put on ourselves from how we're wired, how we're programmed, because really time is a human construct. There is no real thing as time, but we just use time as a way of functioning, as a way of obviously scheduling our life. But as we move into this, we realize, well, actually, it doesn't matter. We put so much pressure on ourselves to succeed and perform, and we think time's running out, and it's not actually necessarily the case. And we can actually use time, we can bend time to create so much more in our life from a place of more ease.
So I think that for a lot of people, they just have this an assumption that they live and exist in the third dimension. Yes. And that is the reality that they know and accept. But the reality actually is closer to this multiple dimensional reality where they exist on multiple planes all at the same time. Fourth dimension is defined as being outside of time, which means that the third dimension is defined by time. Does that sound right?
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
And now when we go beyond that to the fifth dimension, what are we seeing as the fourth dimension that defines the fourth dimension? If the third is defined by time, space, are we stepping further out, or is time the dimension of the fourth? How does that work exactly?
Time is a dimension of the fourth plane, the fourth dimension, yes. And we can still be in this conflict. There's a lot of, it's kind of allowing ourselves to understand where we're in conflict or in restriction or constraint in some way. And we can move from that restrictive energy, ego mind, having to shift from that to awareness of possibility and probability and like the laws of assumption, and that anything is absolutely possible. So time is pretty much non-existent.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a perspective from the fourth dimension,
Yes.
standing
Yes.
in the fourth. Now, so that brings us to looking at the third dimension as like its little box of
Yes.
okay. And then now in the fifth dimension, we stepped a little further back. And is this where we're being hyper connected to, on that plane? Are we kind of hyper connected to all the different entities and experiences of ourself?
Yes, we are. We find that we don't get as affected by the things in life that would have bothered us on like a full 3D, 4D dimension. We kind of that you don't get attached to things as much. So you're very much more, well, I see the high perspective. I see why this had to happen. You are able to sort of navigate through your life with way more freedom, I would say. So you function from heightened awareness and connecting to all beings as well. So connected to whatever you are open to, really. The elementals, the earth, the different planes of existence. That it's just we have this limitless universal consciousness that wants to contribute to us, so we can have more peace.
Yeah, that sounds good. Something we all need in life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, how do you go about facilitating the 5D consciousness for your clients?
Yeah, thank you. So we really have to understand how they're primary functioning from, and from what level they're functioning from in terms of their belief systems, their points of views, how they're perceiving their world. A lot of it, the work that I do is clearing of beliefs. These are ancestral, historical belief systems and programs that are affecting their health, well-being, but their finances, their businesses, their relationships. So we have to completely unlearn that and reinstate a new belief or a new program. It's kind of like shifting from the old outdated belief systems to new upgraded belief systems, and therefore changing of our energy, shifting of our frequency. And this is quick. It doesn't have to take years and years and years and years to heal and upgrade yourself. You have to just have a willingness to choose something different, and the more willingness you have, the more easy it can be. It doesn't have to take years and years to reach a certain result or have a certain outcome and a feeling.
Right. Yeah, and the capacity also
Yes.
increases. It's much like upgrading your computer, where
Absolutely.
you were, in an old program that wasn't quite able to keep up with the other things going on in life. And sometimes it gets bogged down and run down and not operating correctly, and it needs a reboot and a reinstall of a new program that's a little bit more able to handle the things going on around it. Yeah. It's like an adjustment. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always say,
now,
like, who wrote the software in your mind? Are you willing to delete it?
Right.
And start over? Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of that's written by us when we're young. We kind of scribe in there exactly how we think things are and need to be, and we do that when we're 5 and 6 and 7, making our whole life decisions when we're that young. We can look at other kids and say, "Why are you doing it that way?" We did the exact same thing.
Yes.
That was us, and likely we're running that same program. And the reboot. So what would be the process that somebody would go through as far as in that reboot? How would they go about doing that through you?
Yes, so thank you. Okay, so we need to get them into what's called a theta state of mind. And once we're in the theta state, we can access any subconscious conditioning, any memories, any past life traumas and experiences. It doesn't have to be terrifying either. It can be fun and explorative and playful. So I really make my space playful and lighter. And then we go to this place of, okay, let's discover, let's find out like what's creating this. And I basically take them through a step-by-step process to access the memories. And then we use what's called muscle testing to test the beliefs that are coming through. And then once we muscle test to see where they're coming from, so there's 4 levels of belief: the soul, genetic, historical, and ancestral beliefs. Once we can understand where these are actually coming from, whether it's past life, whether it's childhood, then we can start to clear that by using a certain process of questioning, intuitive guidance, working with the creative energy, which is the intuitive channeling that comes through. And then we can start to install new downloads, energetic frequencies, and beliefs that come through.
Yeah.
Very simple, very quick.
So it's basically just making an assessment in the theta state.
Yeah.
And so much happens in that state that is really intrinsic, and there's a lot of tools that can be created out of that state for a person. I find I'm very creative when I've accessed it, where I'm on the fringes of it, where I can still, do my own conscious stuff, but I have that the energy of theta, as it were. It's very universal consciousness. And is that kind of the experience of 5D? Is that theta?
Absolutely. You will find most of your days are in flow state. You just create and flow without thinking too much or getting too in your head. Like, how do we work something out, figure it out? You don't have to figure it out. It just comes through. Mm-hmm. You let it come in and it's done. And then, even content creation or, an idea, bringing an idea into life, words you want to use and say, like, it will just flow in and you can just move with the energy in way less time.
Yeah. And what would be in the 6th dimension? Ooh. Or do we have that perspective? Is that because we know there's more than a few, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, it's way more, just tuning into it now, it's probably way more ethereal and way more light and less dense. There's definitely less of understanding things or logic there. That just doesn't exist.
Right.
It's just matter, I would say. I'm guessing the download of like spirit energy. Yeah, we can access the consciousness of everyone. But we don't. We're not. We're not in the physical as much. I don't know. Okay. That would be interesting to see what comes through around that.
Yeah, because I guess with the 5th dimension we are plugged in, but we still have that veil of separation. It's more like 5th dimension is accessing your higher self of this incarnation or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
The 6th dimension kind of pulls out a little further.
Yeah.
To where that life goal of that higher self is not so much irrelevance.
Yeah.
It's like a grander wheel of movement, of expression, and an experience. I guess a lot of it stems from experience, right? That's kind of the modus operandi of consciousness, is to experience. And so we're in this 3rd dimension, we're like in a hyper reality. This is where a lot of people get that feeling that, hey, I'm in a game or something. This is this is a very strange hologram or something like that. And they're not inaccurate in doing that and thinking that or vibing with that. It is. It's like hyper reality. And then you pull back and there's a little less importance placed on those little things. And you pull back a little further. And I imagine you're connected to a whole different realm of need and want and guidance and all that. Angelic realm, would that maybe be in the angelic, or would that be a higher, or where would that?
No, angelic definitely more ethereal connection to spirit. Like you are that, and you have more communication with that. That's kind of where, I mean, I spend most of my time in the higher sort of levels, because I'm very like Aquarian minded and very cosmic, like I'm already there. So just connecting in with that, it's very much sort of like angelic, connecting to sort of ascended masters and, you know, past loved ones if you want to connect in, and it's just way more accessible and easy to access without the constraints of the ego trying to kind of second guess it and doubt it and block it almost.
Right. And that's what it does. It definitely does a good job at that.
Oh yes.
And what would be your where did this start for you? What would be your genesis of this path for you?
Oh my goodness. I used to be very skeptical. I was never like awake, I would say. I started sort of my journey about 20 years ago. I was always a very sensitive child though, but I was always very aware of things, but it didn't really click in until like I started understanding myself as a child a lot more. And then I actually went through some sort of mental breakdowns and real difficulties in my life. And I was always, no, I don't believe in anything. I'm not religious. I don't believe in God. Like I was always very atheist, actually. I was very kind of ignorant in that sense of, I don't believe in anything other than this. Like, but I wanted to. And I knew really underneath there was more, but I was afraid of it. And then, my kind of breakdown enabled me to be able to see a different perspective, because I had I also had 3 near-death misses, and the fact that I'm still alive today was kind of a miracle. And I don't believe that I was just like, that woke me up to like, maybe there was something out there. Maybe something was looking after me. Maybe, like I'm open to the possibility. And it just started awakening in my mind to, wow, like there is more. And I started to go on my own healing journey and diving into all this energy work and Reiki. And wow, I realized we're more than just the physical. We're more than just the physical body. We're mental, emotional, energy. There's different states of consciousness, and just learned so much through the years of going on my own experience, my own journey, and lucid dreaming, and you name it. I've kind of been there. So it's very open.
I find that it's really interesting that we almost always have to go through some kind of trauma or the depths of darkness of some sort to delve into that, to be able to pull out into a higher state. It's almost like a shedding of the skin in a sense. We we hyper look at it like that's very important to us, and it's in the minuscule moment, it's everything. It rides on whatever it is that we're that we're losing usually. And but I find it very interesting that we kind of have to do that to break cycles and to move beyond certain places that we've accepted in our lives, to move past those places. My thought would be that if we were operating in the 5D more, or accessing it and being more clear with what you can call the messages from above or whatever, that connection with that higher realm, that we wouldn't have to experience the dips the same way as we do not being conscious of the higher self or the higher realms. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, because we would be so much more connected to our higher self, rather than the sort of almost the self that has to learn through trauma. Like we've already learned it. We've already learned the lessons. We've already embodied the virtues of like why our soul's incarnated. So we already come from that place of understanding. And therefore, once we shift those energies, we no longer feel like we have to go through trauma or go through struggle or go through difficulties to reach a higher state. And those are programs that I used to have that I've cleared as well. So I've come from that place of feeling like I have to struggle. I have to go through this difficulty to get closer to God and Creator or universe. So 100%. 100%.
And even in that bad things happen to good people. Bad things happen to everybody, but the experience of it, there's a with the hand on the shoulder, there's a guide that says this is gonna pass too. This as well will go away. This is for your own good. Think this is where changes happen, and it maybe alleviates a little bit of that sense of dread or
It
terror from the
does.
changes. Yeah.
It does. I mean, there have been times when I really struggled to let go, and I was like, no, I have to make sure this works out this way. And I really had to learn the art of surrender. And I'm
Right.
still learning. I'm not there yet. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. I'm still learning every day how to surrender a little bit more, how to
Hmm.
let go a little bit more, and just trust. And it's been my biggest life lesson. And it's
Yeah.
not easy. It's layered. It's a process.
Yeah. And you said you're an Aquarius. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. My experience with that kind of energy, that air that's fixed, it really has a natural contradiction in itself, where air
Yeah.
wants to be free and wants to be
Yeah.
flowing, but is trapped and
Oh,
has to
yeah.
learn its way to be free, but is always constrained by,
Yes.
and likely from life experience. So my theory on astrology is it's like a setup, and you have
Yeah.
the free will to act on how the pieces move, but they're going to move, and you're most likely going to react in a way that's very akin to the sun that you're born under.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
but Aquarius is very high minded and
Yeah.
can be ungrounded. And that was
Oh,
where,
yes.
yeah. So the key, I think, for Aquarius is to ground out, to have the feet on the ground and to access this
Yes.
higher dimension, which is a very big
Yes.
trick. It's like not an easy thing to do.
That's not been easy. I've had to
Yeah,
learn to do
right.
that. Yeah.
And then it is the process of, a lot of times for most of us, is to um, go over it again and again and again until we kind of, oh,
Yes.
okay, I get it now, see the
Yeah.
pattern, and I'm going to get out of the pattern. All right.
5, 6 times. I finally get it. Yes.
Right.
Okay. Got a message. Yes. Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yes.
Yeah. And with air signs, there's a lot of change that happens, and there's a lot of riding on that, and acceptance that
Yes.
goes with being an air sign. But that fixation, the fixed part, is what really challenges the Aquarius versus a Gemini or a Libra, who can just kind of go, okay, we're changing. you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've had to learn that it's safe to be able to allow change, and now I embrace change. But it was a process to sort of shift that internal,
Yeah.
fear, whatever I was afraid of, to let it come through.
Right.
You know?
And then of course it's also in learning it, it's learning to be it and to embody the change when it
Yes,
comes about. It's not that it's going away. It's just that the ability to manage it is much different.
yes,
The challenges will be there, but will they be challenges? It might be the
yes,
same scenario over and over again, but is it still a challenge? Is it still causing more suffering?
yes,
That kind of thing. Oh,
yes.
very cool. Now, how can everyone find you? What's the
Thank
best way to
you.
reach out to you?
Yeah, I am on my website, so www.morganamarie.com. Also on LinkedIn and Instagram, Morgana Marie Medium, so you can find me on Instagram too.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I'll have that linked in the description so anybody can find you through there. Any last words that you'd like to say to the audience or those listeners?
Yeah, just don't resist. It's harder to resist than not. This is something that I learned. I like, the more you resist, the harder it is, and the stronger messages and lessons will come through. Don't make it difficult for yourself. Allow yourself to just go for it, even if you just don't know what's on the other end. You're willing to go on the journey anyway. I would say, allow it to be fun. It doesn't have to be dread. It could just be like, oh wow, it's just something different. I'm just going to try something different. So sort of change the perspective about how you approach this. If you feel like you're awakening right now and you're, feeling a bit unsettled and all over the place, just, be like, it's just good. It's just temporary. It's just temporary. There's always greatness on the other side. You have to allow yourself to just go with the energies and let it move you rather than you try to move it, I would say.
Very good. Well, I think
Yeah.
that caps it off very well. Surrender to the self. Sounds
Yes.
wonderful. Well,
Yes.
again, Morgana, wonderful to have you on today
Thank
and
you.
to hear your message. And I look forward to seeing great things from you.
Thank you so much, Nick, for your time. Thank you.
Thank
Take care,
you.
everyone.
Take care.